Hello, and welcome to reCapping with Delora
and Ashley.
Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at reCapping Podcast.
Also, rate, review, and subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform. We're on all the things.
We want to hear your thoughts on the movies and shows we review.
Leave us a comment on Apple Podcasts or our YouTube channel, and we will read them during the show.
Or reach out to us on social media. We love talking all things entertainment and pop culture with you.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you. Hey, Ashley.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Are you ready for this? The number one movie on Netflix.
Just call me a sensualist, Delora, along with Miss Kelly Rowland.
Number one trending topic on social media. We are going to recap Tyler Perry's erotic thriller, Mea Culpa. Came out 2004, actually this month. Happy Black History Month, February 23rd. 2 hours long, rated R. Here's a summary. When criminal defense attorney Mia Harper takes on a murder case of artist Zaire Malloy, the truth isn't as obvious as it seems. While she tries to determine the innocence or guilt of her cagey yet seductive client, it is uncovered that everyone is guilty of something. Tyler Perry's Mea Culpa explores what happens when burning desires takes hold and things get hot and dangerous. Here's the cast. Kelly Rowland as Mia Harper. We have Trevante Rose as Zaire Malloy. Nick Sager as Ray. Sean Sager as Cal. Brothers. Ronrico Lee as Jimmy. Shannon Thornton as Charlize. This movie is written, directed, and produced by Tyler Perry. Also notable producer is Tyler Perry and Kelly Rowland, along with Will Aryu and Angie Boats. Rotten Tomatoes. Critics gave this film 21%. The audience score is 37%. And Google users gave this film 59%. Ashley, what's your grade for Mea Culpa?
I guess I'm kinder than the folks that we're talking about. I gave it a C+. It's not gonna rank in my top 5, even my top 7 when I listed it out of Tyler Perry films, but I still enjoyed the ride. I think there are some plot points that just kind of fell a little bit flat for me with the storyline. But I love Kelly Rowland. I really enjoyed Trevante Rhodes. I enjoyed their chemistry, if that's what we want to call it. And, you know, I was down for the figuring it out and the whodunit of it all, right? And trying to see if I could guess what the actual F was going on in this film. So I was there for the journey. I was there for the ride of this film for sure. What about you?
You and I are on the same page, Ashley. I gave this movie a C+. I didn't hate it. And I have watched some Tyler Perry films that made me wish I got my time back, you know? And this just wasn't one of them. I thought Kelly looked gorgeous. I think she did a great job in the role.
From the hair to the wardrobe, darling. She made me want to pull out a pantsuit.
Exactly. Yes. Trevante and her chemistry was palpable. So congratulations to that.
You know what I thought, Delora? They was kissing like 90s black films. Because
back in the day.
Tongues were tonguing. The tongues were tonguing, baby. Okay?
Yeah. I have to say, I feel like Trevante is he does look a little different. I loved him so much in Moonlight. I feel like he's just, I don't know. Do you feel like he looks different?
I told you, Candy Cane Lane messed me up because when he was the one firing Eddie Murphy, I said that
Yeah.
sex appeal in Candy Cane Lane was undeniable. Blame the glasses because I'm in the era of really loving a man who wears some glasses. Blame the power suit. I couldn't tell y'all what it was, but he in that role, like put him in this film, I would have
Oh
watched this
yeah.
movie 5 times. Oh my
maybe
God. The
maybe he
sexual energy.
I mean, he is, dealing with being accused of murder, of course. So maybe he wasn't in his tip top shape or something. I don't know.
I mean, he still had it. He could still get it,
Of
Ivy.
course.
But in Candy Cane Lane, y'all can't tell me. I said, I was wondering if he was about to try to mess with Eddie Murphy. I was like, where is it?
Oh
The
my
sexual
gosh.
energy that was oozing off of that man. Sheesh.
Let's go ahead and talk about this movie. Okay. So the movie starts off with Mia and her husband, Cal, in marriage counseling. There's trouble in paradise. You have this couple trying to work out their differences. They have a lot of obstacles they're dealing with. His overbearing mother, the introduction of his childhood girlfriend in their lives, as well as him not having a job, Ashley, having lost his job 8 months ago. Talk about the strains of a relationship. I'm not gonna lie, when I started the film, I was like, oh, she's married. I don't know if I knew she was married. I thought the big, plot point was like, will she, won't she, because she's his attorney. But I'm like, oh, this is an interesting twist.
Yeah, I agree. They didn't show anything necessarily about her own personal relationship when you watch the previews. And her husband, he is fine. So there's that.
Well, Tyler Perry I don't think he's ever cast an ugly man in any of his projects, has he?
I can't say that I come for the men always, if that's what you're asking. Like I can't
No, but
say that
I'm
I come into a
saying
project like,
he is he is known for having fantastic eye candy for
yeah,
the
he be throwing some
ladies.
bad wigs on them. And in this movie, everybody said not today. Cause
Not today.
you ain't see none of them with a horrible
Out of
wig on
place
in this film.
or bad
So
beard.
yep,
Kudos to them.
yep.
Well, you said that her husband's fine. You know me. I was going for his brother. His brother.
Well, I'll take both of them if I have to choose. But
Oh,
the brother already knew. The brother's already been in things. He was in
yes.
the one movie with Vanessa Hudgens.
The Princess Swap movie.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
movie. He was
Yeah.
in, I think, a couple things I've seen him in. So I already had this image of him from
Yeah.
those. The brother I had never seen. And you throw on the fact they both British. I went to both of their Instagrams and I was like,
Of course.
oh,
I've been following the brother for a
Nick.
long time, Nick. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he did a good job with that casting.
I agree. And then they leave their marriage counseling to show up to his mother's birthday party just for her to just be throwing all these sly little comments talking about, oh, your second wife will be on time. Oh, here's his ex-girlfriend introduces her and put his ex-girlfriend in between her and him and have his wife sit down further down the table. Tyler Perry knows how to make awful mother-in-law type character. Don't
I
you
don't care
think?
if she's battling cancer or not. The level of disrespect was
Like
too
or
high for
no?
me. Like, first of
Well,
all, my husband has no backbone if he would sit
that is
there
what I am saying.
and
I'm
let his
like,
mother
this is
talk to me like that.
marriage.
And then you sit your ass at the head of the table with your mama sitting next to this woman instead of sitting next to me. Okay? Like, ooh, mama's boys are not it.
Not it. And like, yes, once you love your mothers, but the way he wasn't even able to speak up for his wife, that they supposedly have been together for years. And it's a trend with the family because you have Charlize there talking about, oh, our husbands love their moms. It was the expensive ass gift for me,
Mm-hmm.
Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't got no job, but
Mm-hmm.
you got the money to spend a piano's worth of jewelry on her
That was
without
my thing.
consulting me.
You ain't even just take my money. You sold my piano without asking me. What did you call it when we did our recap few years back, financial infidelity.
Yep.
He was playing strong to start this movie. I was like, your face don't make up for these shenanigans whatsoever.
They do not. They do not. So Mia, her back is essentially against the wall because her friend Maddie encouraged her to talk to Zaire. She's like, well, he's up for murder. Why would I talk to him? And he's like, he's young, he's confused, check him out. She takes a meeting with him. He's convinced that the DA has it out for him, but he insists that he's innocent. And we know that this is also a conflict of interest because Mia's brother-in-law, it works for the DA. And everybody, and literally their mother is telling her not to take this case, Ashley. My question for you is, would you have been suspicious on why so many people were interested in her not taking this case?
I don't think I would have been curious about why so many people didn't want her to, because I think the chips were stacked so far against him when we hear what the evidence is, what they the situation is going to be when he actually makes it to trial is like, it feels like a lose-lose situation. But I think more so my question was her motivation to take this case. Is she someone who thrives on the pressure of possibly having someone who is going to lose? Was this just to give a stab at her family members? Was it just merely financial? Because I get the sense when we start the movie that she is successful, that she does have work at an established firm that has good clientele. So that was more so my question, not why people would be curious about why she's taking it, but what was her actual motivation beyond supposedly financial? Because you work in Chicago, you're a high-powered attorney. I figured you could make your money somewhere else.
But it's revealed that money is tight with her husband not working. And when you find out the way that he lost his job, getting high off his own supply, Ashley, she was like, which bill are you paying?
The way that he spoke to her, I was like, is there abuse? Because this is verbal abuse, in my opinion, with the way he came at her in a few scenes. I was like, this feels like it's borderline. Is he about to slap you soon? That's what I kept thinking. There were these moments I would catch him and I'd be like, who is this person that you're turning into when you're speaking to her like this? It was concerning to me.
That, and he's doing all of this, having his family gang up on her just for him to be lying to them, making her be the bad guy. That's why I'm like, it's not even solely the fact that your mom is talking sideways, but you are painting a picture to your family about us that's not even real. And I'm taking the brunt of it, and you ain't saying a damn word about it.
Let's have a toast to what, Delora?
My divorce.
Okay. Crazy.
All right, let's talk about this. It's not technically a meet cute because they had already met, but she goes to his loft, Ashley, and we get his side of the story. He meets his girlfriend Heidi in Italy. They hit it off. They have 6 months together. He says that, everything's beautiful. They're in love. But for the murder scene, blood is seeping through the floorboards and there's skull fragments in his paintings, in addition to a video that makes him look hella guilty and a $3 million insurance policy. Did you think he was guilty?
Absolutely. I absolutely thought that he was guilty. Skull fragments. That's what got me. I'm like, what you mean? Blood is one thing. Skull fragments, bro. So yes, I thought he was psychotic. I'm not gonna hold you. I thought he was psychotic.
Especially when looking at their other conversations, all of his quote unquote ex-girlfriends were bitter. I'm like, I don't trust a guy who every ex-girlfriend is either bitter or a bitch. I'm like, I don't trust it.
Hi, it's me, Taylor Swift. I'm the problem. It's me.
Sir, you are the common denominator in all of these relationships. We meet Jimmy, who is Mia's dear friend and private investigator who knows a little bit about everything. He's the one that reveals to her Cal's substance abuse right before his firing. He goes and questions Zaire with her. And this scene kind of cracks me up because I'm just like, oh my goodness, Tyler Perry talking about sex is just, it feels very amateur to me. I'm not gonna lie. As a person who has been neck deep in romance, I'm like, sir,
You ain't bringing the steam. He wasn't bringing the steam for you.
he was rough.
He choked me till I passed out.
She liked it that way. I can't. Okay, I gotta get myself.
The thing is it made me uncomfortable, and I think that was the point. Because it's like, you got this man talking to the guy who's suspected of killing his girlfriend like this, and then you got her staring him down the whole time to see if he flinches or doesn't do something that's in line with telling the truth. It was
Yes,
uncomfortable to
it truly
watch.
was. It truly was. You know, Mia checks in with Jimmy and pretty much asks him, like, is he guilty or not? And Jimmy's convinced that Zaire is lying too. So all these things are stacking up against Zaire. Jimmy also goes on a vacation to Mexico. Well, it's not vacation, but to do more investigation. And I think it was very interesting at this point in the story when nobody knew this girl and there was no reports about Mexican born girl being murdered by a US citizen. So that's what got my hackles going, like, well, did he really do
Yeah, it definitely started to seem fishy in terms of the circumstances, because what you mean there's no record of her, there's no record of her family. Was this a setup?
Mia is dealing with all these impromptu family dinners. We find out that her brother is interested in running for mayor. And again, pretty much telling her to say no to this case because he has no interest in recusing himself. I think what's interesting about their family dynamics is if they have been together, Mia and her husband have been together for so many years. This, like, we as a family say no, so you say no. I'm like, I don't feel like this dynamic was established until this point. Did you get that?
Again, some of my struggles with this film are with the things that I didn't feel like were either flushed out or did not make complete sense when we come to the story. She talked about, oh, we've been married for years, but this level of animosity, this level of conflict, I don't know how this has been sustainable to this degree for so long, right?
For
Like,
so
has
long.
this come to a head recently because of some other circumstances? Like, I just did not, yeah, I didn't get a good understanding, especially to your point when they said, hey, as a family, we're deciding you're not going about this. My own family, blood, don't talk to me like that. So the
Exactly.
hell you talking about? I don't even like y'all. I don't even know y'all.
In addition to, it's like, what are we saving at this rate when it comes to her and her marriage with Cal? You know what I mean? Because it's,
Nothing.
I didn't see anything that was salvageable from their interactions.
It must be the face card, like I said, because I don't know what she has continued to stay in this marriage for at this point. He's been off his job for 8 months. Yes, given he's in recovery and trying. But what are the chances when you're in the medical field of being able to get your license back? Because I'm sure he got his license
Girl,
taken.
yes.
Um,
And these hospitals talk. It's not like there's a bunch of hospitals in a
yeah.
particular area, especially in Chicago.
So what
Come
was
on
going to be
now.
his next career move? What, I just didn't see anything getting better
I agree. So during one of her late night visits to this man's loft, because why is she visiting him at night
at his house.
at his house? But we do know why, because he's a famous artist and all the paparazzi has been following him. So he felt more comfortable and they felt like he would draw less attention by staying in the loft. But I'm like, girl, you don't have to do it at night.
It's also, to me, it felt unprofessional, if I'm honest. Like, I don't work at
Yes.
all. And so I don't know how often
Yes.
anything like this would happen, but one would think you would find some type of neutral location where he could still be safe and out of the public eye and not have to be in his home. It did feel inappropriate, especially you're a female lawyer. Are you not at all concerned if he actually is a murderer that he could harm you?
Yes. Yes. Did you find his loft to be a seductive place? Like, was it giving you, sexy vibes?
I wouldn't say it's seductive, but it was nice though. Like I
It
love a
was nice.
loft. So
Yeah.
I was digging the vibe at the place. But no, honestly, one of the things that kind of irritated me about the movie was his game, quote unquote. Like the just come here for a minute. Come here, do this, paint this. I'm like, that's annoying. That's a
I
little
was,
annoying to me.
yep, I was just about to get to that because somehow the conversation got to her and she started talking about her marriage woes and he gets her to paint. She wants to leave and he's willing to drive her on the back of his motorcycle, but she declines. But apparently, this whole interaction got her hot and bothered that she went home to her husband to let off some steam.
Mr. Two Strokes, sure.
After that night, she insisted that her and Zaire meet in public during the day at her office. But for me, the way he walked up to her and touched her on her hip like that, I'm like, sir,
In front of her husband.
in front of her. I mean, apparently can't shame the shameless, but the audacity for me. Like, what makes you think we are cool like that for you to be touching me?
The audacity. He touched her like they had a physical, romantic relationship.
I was outdone. And for me, her husband could have just stayed. The way he just kissed her on the forehead and walked away. I'm like, sir, you're not intimidating a puppy right now. Like, get out of here with that.
It was also his level of disdain for him. Like still didn't understand where at this point that came from. Cause I'm like, you don't know this man.
True.
So you don't know even
True.
if he's guilty. What do you dislike about him already?
Exactly.
Beyond
And if
that
anything,
approach.
right beyond that approach, he is the next, paycheck in your house. You would
Yeah.
think.
What are you upset about, bro?
Exactly. Well, she managed to go back to his freaking house and he declares his attraction to her. I'm like, sir, is just, he wasted no time, Ashley. Talking about, I like the way you feel, how you smell, your brilliance. She reminded him, why she's there because obviously he's known as a sex murderer. Was he running game? Or do you think
Yes.
he genuinely was attracted to her?
I think he was genuinely attracted to her and I think he was running game. Like his
Mm,
game is I'm an artist. Let me seduce you with my brilliance and my art. Let me tell you how I think I feel about you with this look that I'm giving you. Because obviously, he's an attractive man and he
mm-hmm.
knows that he's an attractive man. And
Yeah,
so,
dangerous.
the thing that, again, annoyed me about the game that they had him kind of play is this: oh, I don't trust you because you won't be honest with me about being attracted to me. Like, there are no boundaries established in this client lawyer
Yes.
relationship, and I did not like that. Like I feel like he kept invading her space in ways that I was not
Mm-hmm.
comfortable with, right? And I know for the sake
Yes.
of the movie it is what it is, we have to flush it out, but I was like, I just kept thinking like, this is hella annoying to me. I don't understand why you're letting it go this far, right? Like, just pull back.
Yeah.
Just pull back.
And speaking of going far, he leaves his loft to go into a red room full of swingers. I
I
mean,
don't know what type of apartment community or residential community this was that y'all have a sex dungeon in the basement, but
I ain't never seen nothing like that ever.
it must exist somewhere because people don't pull this stuff out their ass.
That part. That part. Apparently, he tries to apologize to Mia, but then he has like this random woman that he's very publicly having sex with, and she leaves the apartment. Jimmy gives her a call asking him about Cal and his high school girlfriend going into a hotel room, and she decides to go back and make some bad decisions. With her interview, Kelly Rowland's interview with Shan Booty, apparently the scene was supposed to be a threesome.
And Kelly said no.
Kelly didn't say she said no. She said that she liked what happened in the film more. That's what she said. She felt like you got more out of the scene with just the two of them.
I disagree.
You think so?
A threesome would have made more sense to me.
Really?
Because why would you, after seeing him having sexual relations with another woman,
Yeah,
come back up and expect for that woman to leave? In my opinion, the
that's true.
expectation in that sexual situation would have made sense and have been that I'm going to join the party. It to me made the woman who left feel like just a piece of meat.
But wasn't she? Like, was she not?
She's still a person though, and what their arrangement was is what their arrangement was. I feel like having her just come there, perform a little fellatio, hop on top one time. I don't feel like that's the totality probably of what their interactions actually are. And so having her leave the
Yeah.
way that she did made it feel even more so like she was just there to perform to his needs. And then I got my real woman that I care about coming, so hop off. Literally hop off as she came up and looks at us from the steps. Threesome would have made more sense to me, is all I'm saying. And I didn't really appreciate the disrespect of the other woman in the situation. That's how I felt about it, honestly.
Whoa. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How does this stack up to other erotic thrillers for you?
Meh. I mean,
Same.
it didn't do anything for me on any real level. I mean, he's a very attractive man, like I said. So I didn't mind it when she came up there and he tongued her down. What I was thinking was, now, what all had happened that he's tonguing you down after.
Well, for
But
me, it's like
again,
we
that's
ain't
why
gonna take a
threesome
shower.
that's why the threesome would have made more sense, right? Because it's like I'm still catching all the juices from that interaction. Because we go hop on your bike and we come back. Ain't no this is still the same sweat and body stuff that was on you before, right? So that's a
The paint ain't disinfected.
threesome would have made
No.
so much more sense. But I will say that uh there have been steamier interactions, but their chemistry was chemistry. And I liked the
Yeah,
paint. The paint was a nice touch.
it was. I appreciated it. I've read some books actually that had this type of like artsy paint all over the place type of feel. So it kind of made me chuckle. Shout out to A Court of Mist and Fury. If you know, you know.
And to be honest, I
Uh,
also respect Kelly and the fact that anything more may have been quite uncomfortable for her, because I think she was uncomfortable originally with the fact that this was an erotic thriller.
yeah. Well, in the same interview, she talks about how we got to know her as a young woman. In another interview, actually, I think it was either with Sherry Shepard or Kelly Clarkson. Kelly Rowland's 43 years old. She is nice and grown. And she talks about, like, I am grown. Who is going to check me? And I was like, touche, touche, sis. She's
Absolutely.
like, busted wide open,
Oh,
liberation.
oh, alrighty then.
She said that because, some people know her for being young and growing up in the industry. And to them, seeing her in this way is just kind of like busting it right. Like, this is in your face. And she's like, it is what it is. My husband know about it. He's unbothered. I'm going to do me.
Oh, he's probably like, bring some of that energy home.
That part. That part. Well, when she wakes up the next morning, she finds a painting of her face on the ceiling. Were you impressed?
I hope she got to keep that painting, was all I was thinking, because that was a good one. It was beautiful. But I was not impressed
By his moves? You
by his
weren't?
moves, bro. Throughout this whole film, I was like, this shit feels like you probably do this multiple times throughout throughout your life. Like the whole time, it just felt like none of it was genuine.
Genuine.
Like that was
Yeah.
my sense. Like you
Yeah.
feel like someone who this is the game that you run on women. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to stereotype, but he gives you the vibe of I'm gonna do my thing out here and catch me if you can, ladies.
He bathes her and they make plans for the future. And the next day, she goes into work. Her husband and her sister-in-law are upset because she did not come home. And she found out that everyone was at the hotel visiting his sick mother. And it wasn't just him and this girlfriend. And so she made a big mistake.
Don't make permanent decisions off of temporary emotions.
Well, that and what they say, believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. Mia is like giving up the case. She takes the case files back to Zaire. She's just like, you know what? I got a replacement. You're gonna be good. He's like, please don't do this. She sees Jimmy. Jimmy's like, you're human. He's like, I don't judge you. And she says, I judge myself. Do you think Jimmy got off scot-free?
I mean, I think that he gave her the information that he had at the time, but given the tumultuous nature of their relationship, given the level of friendship that they had, he probably should have done a little bit more due diligence before he delivered that news. I don't think he got off scot-free. But he only can do so much, right? Like, ain't nobody tell you. What was the one scene I'm thinking of? Oh, from The Bodyguard, where she was upset with him and Frank said, I ain't tell you to go fuck everybody in the hotel. It's one of those, like, I can't, me showing you something or delivering some information does not justify you taking that information and doing
and running with it.
bad things with it, right?
Yeah.
Those are still your decisions that you have to live with. So this was still on Kelly, that instead of going home and figuring it out, she decided to go back up to the apartment, to the loft.
So I have to admit, I was a bit confused why she decided to still talk to Renee Chester Harper after giving up the case. But Mia decides to meet her. She's the gallery owner who essentially gave Zaire his start. And she comes in very strong. I feel like in all Tyler Perry films, you have like a Medea-esque character. And I feel like she had essence of Medea being like just very in your face, epic vibes. You know what I mean? Like not giving a fuck.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Because she was like, oh, did you fuck him yet? Like, talk about starting off a conversation, miss.
She was definitely a truth teller.
That's for sure. I saw this online and it tickled me. How to spot a Tyler Perry film. Number 1, infidelity. Number 2, domestic violence. Number 3, unnecessary sex scenes. Number 4, unconnected plot twist. Number 5, attractive, gorgeous men, no job. Number 6, dark-skinned women, many jobs.
Mm.
And then number 7, random white person.
Is that his mama in this case?
Yes. But the fact that this is so accurate had me in tears. I get this from Instagram. It's from Afrocentric Films Collaborative. And it tickled me so much, Ashley. Anyway, I think it's pretty accurate. How about you? That list, that rundown.
Many points were made. I will say that. Many points.
So the kicker with Mia's conversation with Renee is that it was almost like a play-by-play, Ashley. She told him of her relationship woes. She painted blue waves, red lines, and had a portrait of herself on his ceiling the next morning. Did this conversation convince you that Zaire was guilty or that he was just simply a fuckboy?
The latter. Again, I did not know whether he was truly a murderer, but my instincts were correct that I knew that he was full of shit in terms of his romantic pursuits. Because I'm like,
yeah,
he just feels like he's a freak. You know what I'm saying? And let your freak flag fly. But that does not mean that you need to have sexual relations with every woman that you find attractive.
Every woman,
maybe that's one of the
or
things
not,
that got to me about the movie too, is I was like, I don't like that she gave him some because it reinforced the notion that he can have everybody that he wants.
Exactly.
Regardless of how inappropriate it was.
Well said. Well, Mia took that layers conversation to heart. She goes back to his loft, rips away all the canvases, and she sees that she's just one of many, frankly. And this Negro had the nerve to say, I love you. Sir, what? Does he even know what love is, Ashley?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Because he was just talking about the chick that they think he murdered was his one. And I'm like,
Yes,
I'm confused.
completely. And probably so is he. Again, yet another family meeting, and all is revealed. She runs away to the DR by herself. First of all, this was the most random part in the entire movie. You
Yes.
confess to your husband's family that you had an affair. Also, where's her family?
Exactly.
She was like, okay, cool. I'm leaving, never coming back again. She goes to the Dominican Republic and she spots Heidi working at the resort. Now, this was a twist that I was not expecting. But why did she call her brother-in-law as if he was going to help and support her?
I don't know. He gave me the creeps throughout the entirety of the film. I was like,
Right?
maybe it's because they're trying to make it seem like, he's that typical like politician personality where he has this,
Major Obama
yeah,
vibes.
really weird veneer on, but he was creepy. So at this point, especially with the way the things went down with the fam, I had no idea why she would trust him of all people.
Exactly. I'm like, girl, keep your guy on it. Don't trust him to bring his. I just thought that was irresponsible, but she was out here making some questionable decisions. You know what I mean? He tells her to come back and she goes back to his house again. Why? And all the twists and turns are revealed, Ashley. We find out that the DI office absolutely had something against Zaire because Charlize cheated with him and they were setting him up for murder. They even lied about the mom having cancer because they felt like he'll be able to get sympathy votes for the upcoming election. I thought it was interesting that Mia was able to find these discoveries, but there was still a level of Black woman camaraderie between her and her sister-in-law. Did you notice that when stuff hit the fan? I was like, girl, aren't they doing all this because of you? But now you want to help me? You could have helped me.
Well, and two, I guess I never got a good sense. I guess Charlize didn't have any knowledge of any of the shenanigans that were going on. But it was just like, has he been beating you that he thought that you were going to stab Mia to death?
Exactly. But I don't know which scene it was, but the way he talked to her was like, oh, get in the house. The kids are looking for. I was like, oh, is this how we're talking to our wives?
I'm telling
Okay.
you, both of the brothers, I was like, it seems like y'all are borderline abusive verbally, so let alone what you're doing physically, with the way that they spoke to them. But Charlize just felt like a little puppet at a certain point, and I was like,
She
what
did.
is really going on? What does she really know? How much of a part of any of this has she really been? I think that would have been the master switch of it all had it been Charlize behind everything. That would have been exciting.
Right.
That would have been a
But
fucking twist.
it was a husband's revenge, apparently. And it's so funny because, watching it the first time, everything is slowly being uncovered. But watching it again, you see the signs. Like after the mother's birthday dinner, the brother made a comment of, like, oh, we have two of his paintings and I want to get rid
Hmm.
of them, but you won't let me, and all this and the other. It was just very menacing. And to your point, Kyle was always so angry whenever Zaire's name came up, but he wasn't in on all of the shenanigans that the mother and the brother were up to. But Kelly was able to shake off literally the brother-in-law and the mom with the car. It was giving me major Get Out vibes. Did you pick up on any
I
of
caught
that?
I caught that, and also Texas Chainsaw Massacre was another one I thought
Yes.
about, particularly when it's like you're
Yes.
going the wrong way type
Yes.
moment. That was what I was thinking.
I don't know why she got in the car with her husband. I know he's technically still her husband, but after dealing with his family, I would have been like, I'll catch the next car. But she gets in there. He quote unquote calls 911. Does 911 call you back? I didn't know they did callbacks.
The only time I've ever seen that is in the one film with Halle Berry, where she got the little white
Yes.
girl got under the
Yep.
bed. So
She had to escape that situation. I mean, the dramatics, like it was doing so much, Ashley. So much. And then him coming out of the blue talking about, I should have beat you, but I decided to go the sweet way. At the very end, all is revealed. The brother-in-law apparently is still alive and has been
unfortunately.
arrested. Zaire got off and is clear to live his life. And we see Mia essentially wearing all black, fading into black. Ashley, my final question to you before we get into our final thoughts is this: whose skull was in the painting?
Exactly.
Where did the
Exactly.
blood come from?
Exactly. Like blood, you can open some wound and have some blood. But where you find
True.
how you get skull fragments, bro? Tell me, Tyler. What crime scene have you seen where somebody's still alive, but they skull fragments are outside of their head without some
In a
type of
painting.
true medical emergency that they had to endure? A lot of it was I had to suspend my disbelief, right? I just rolled with it.
Easy.
I just
I
rolled
want
with
to
it.
I want to talk about Blavity. Here's a comprehensive breakdown of the Mea Culpa ending. So they pretty much talk about like what does it all mean? And we have here Perry told of Mia's decision. I think Mia decides she's done with people for a while. She goes in a certain direction, and I think that Zaire moves on, but he misses her. Maybe there's another movie here. Maybe he starts to stalk her.
No, thank you.
I'm good with this story concluding the way it did. Ashley, what are your final thoughts on Mea Culpa, which by the way means my fault.
Hmm.
So
One of my biggest things was my guy did all this just to be mayor of Chicago.
yeah, not even
Like,
senator.
not
Like
even governor.
I'm like, I need your ambitions to be much higher, sir. Please,
He was
please.
clearly supposed to be like the anti-Obama, but it was a mess. That was a mess. That whole conclusion and wrap up was a bit of a mess to me. But again, I came into it with open arms. I did not expect for this to be the greatest film I've ever seen. I wanted to support Kelly. I wanted to support Travante. I wanted to see
Yep.
what type of ride we were going to go on. And I found it to be a C plus worthy film. Don't need a sequel. I
No.
like that Zaire was innocent. I do, because I was wrong
You
about
do.
him. I do.
Okay.
He was a freak,
Yeah,
but that was it.
that was it.
Let that be it. Let that man go on about his business and on about his life. I was pleasantly surprised after the film to find out that Nick and Sean were brothers.
Yeah.
That was fun. They mama, I wish she would have got even worse than she did because she was trash.
I wouldn't even play with that. And being sick with cancer, like, oh no,
Exactly. For your
we ain't gonna
son to
speak
be the
that.
mayor, girl. Um, I, bro, it's crazy. It's wild. Y'all are wild out here. And then did Charlize survive? Because I don't think the mama
Right?
did. I don't think the brother
I don't think
did.
she did.
She got
The brother,
stabbed.
oh, Cal didn't, but
No,
the
Cal
brother,
definitely didn't. She messed him
right,
up. But did
right.
Charlize survive after getting stabbed? So I
Yeah,
would
I
have
don't
liked
know.
a conclusion on that. And then where's Mia going? Where you going,
Does she still
sis?
got a job? Like, he was one case.
You got a whole life. Where you going? That was goofy. So those are my final thoughts. What about yours?
I mean, you said everything I felt as well. Let's go ahead and talk about our rankings of Tyler Perry projects. I'm okay with the top three, but if you got more, what you got, Ashley?
I can do my top three and then I'll give you a top five. My top
Okay.
three, The Family That Prays. Hands down, one of the most
He's
cohesive, best acted,
well acted, yes.
fully formed stories that has been told in a Tyler Perry film. Fantastic.
Okay.
Fantastic. Why Did I Get Married? The dinner scene alone has to be a top three moment in anything that
Yeah.
he's ever done. The cast was phenomenal. That first
Yep.
film was so funny.
Yep. And genuinely good. Yeah.
Hell of a movie. Number 3, Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Charles can get it to this day. He was a piece of sugar, honey, iced tea. And I had the first time you see that movie, you have such a visceral reaction to her being dragged out of that house.
Girl.
Elise Neal was fantastic.
Yeah, she was.
For the first
Yes,
film
she
out the
was.
gate, I was so hella impressed with Diary of a Mad Black Woman. And then my 4 and my 5, I'm gonna give to I Can Do Bad All by Myself, Taraji Forever,
You
and
like that?
the Single Moms Club. I really enjoyed Nia Long. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the cast. Really enjoyed the film. If I had to give a couple more, Acrimony would be in there somewhere because again, Taraji. I just hated the
Oh
ending.
my
Ending was
gosh.
trash. 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 Trash.
Trash,
Trash.
girl. How'd she get on
Trash.
the boat? Like, I don't
Trash.
understand.
Trash. But
Yeah.
her acting is Taraji.
True.
And
True.
then Good Deeds would fall somewhere in there in my top 10
Okay.
as well.
So, my top three. Why did I get married? I enjoyed it immensely. I thought it was hilarious. To your point, dinner scene, everything. Family Who Prays. Again, he always gets these caliber of actors in his projects, regardless of the quality of the writing. When this one was genuinely good and Sanaa was trash.
Oh my
Like,
God.
what?
I have
Um,
never been happy about domestic violence in my life. And I still feel bad that I was not remotely upset when she got slapped like that.
Number 3, Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Wonderful introduction, Medea and all. Yeah, it
And I'm
was it
sorry,
was
I
a
call her
moment.
Elise Neal, Kimberly Elise.
Kimberly
Sorry.
Elise. Yeah. So that's my top 3. Now, if I were to round it up to be my top 5, I would add Meet the Browns and Daddy's Little Girl.
Mm,
So I
there you
did not
go.
enjoy I Can Do All Bad All by Myself.
I
Or,
did. I did.
Acrimony was a lot. And I'm not gonna lie, for Color Girls, that was very ambitious. I will say, you could tell he was really trying in that,
It was hard to sit through.
but it was rough.
It was
It was
so hard to sit.
rough.
Everybody's going through some of the worst
There's
things.
literally precious times what 5? Like,
Girl.
it's just too
He
much.
said color purple. Huh. Let me show y'all what I can do to some black women. Okay? Jesus.
Woo. Okay, Ashley. I think it's time for hidden gems.
All right. I thought I was going to have more. I know I've consumed more, but there's really only one that made my list this week, guys. One of my friends was just highly recommended this show. So I was like, what the hell? I'm not usually a alien watcher because I find them to be
No?
disgusting.
Okay.
Particularly Independence Day is why I will never eat octopus. But the show is called Resident Alien on Netflix. There's currently 2 seasons on Netflix. I think they're currently also airing a 3rd season because it's a sci-fi show. And it's hilarious. Like the premise is essentially an alien coming to Earth. He was sent here to destroy us, and then he kind of starts to gain a sense of humanity. And shenanigans ensue because he's in a small town in Colorado, which,
Yeah.
by the way, one of the biggest draws to the show is the backdrop of Colorado. I have to go to Colorado. It's gorgeous. Okay.
I absolutely, we should go. Isn't the last blockbuster there too?
Yes, I think we did talk about that when we recapped that movie or that documentary rather.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I'm in the middle of season 2 right now. There are still some gross moments. So anybody who's like me and you don't necessarily love Alien Project, it's not that bad, but I wouldn't watch it while I'm eating. That's me personally. So
Okay.
it's a fun ride. You'll fall in love with the cast. You even have Linda Hamilton popping up in this series, which callback I love. Linda Hamilton
Really?
from the Terminator
Right.
series. And
Married to Cameron. Yeah.
yeah, I thought I think it was worth a watch for sure. So that's Resident Alien, 2 seasons on Netflix. Delora, what you got?
I think I might have given this series a hidden gem call out, but I'm going to do it again because if y'all want to read a genuinely great erotic thriller, check out Kennedy Ryan's All the King's Men series. The first book, The Kingmaker, the second book, The Rebel King, and then the third book, Queen Move. The first two books are part of a duet, and I highly recommend it. But again, if you want the politics, if you want the cliffhangers, and if you want really great sex scenes, check out
Go to the
this
books.
series because Kennedy Ryan is one of my favorite authors, period. But the fact that she does sports and suspense thrillers and small town romances, like she does it all, and I was truly impressed. And I think I might have given it at another hidden gem after I've read it because I read this series last month in January. But I'm doing it again because y'all need to know what good thrillers look like. All right, that's all I got, Ashley.
All right, sounds good. Well, we made it through yet another recap, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with us. If you have not noticed, we have started asking for your opinions on these different projects that we're doing. So let us know in the voting, in the polls, in the comments, whether you enjoyed the projects we're talking about, whether you give it a pass, whether you have yourself any suggestions of anything you'd like to hear us talk about. We love to hear it. Please share this episode with
Absolutely.
your friends, family, loved ones. We appreciate you. Leave us a rating or review. We'll be back, but in the meantime, as always, be blessed.
Bye.